So you're a startup founder looking to get your first 50 paying customers, and you may or may not have much understanding about marketing. You've landed in the right spot. Who am I? My name is Vaibhav Tamburi. I've built over 56 different businesses, helped them scale from zero to millions of users and millions of dollars in monthly recurring revenue. I've also built and bootstrapped my own businesses to 0 to 10,000 users within a few weeks with hundreds of paying customers, as well as exited one of my own SaaS startups. Alright, so this video we're going to talk about 5 easy brainless tactics that you can implement as of today to help you scale and get those 50 paying customers. And guess what? The first thing you need to do before we jump into this video is understand exactly who you're selling to. And no, I don't mean the MBA, ICP type persona. No, you need to figure out exactly who you're selling to. What I mean by that is who's facing the problem that you are trying to solve the problem for. How much are they paying right now to get that problem solved? What exactly are they using? Where exactly are they looking? Now, this is obviously quite hard, and it's okay if you don't have the exact answer, and that's why the next 5 steps exist and 5 strategies exist. However, knowing exactly the pain points that your customer faces, whoever that customer is going to be extremely important. Step number 1, you're going to go ahead and cold email 1,000 people over the span of next 4 weeks. Now, everything that I speak about over the next 5 strategies are based on a 4-week time cycle, because that's all it's going to take you to get your first 50 paying customers. And guess what? If you don't get them, that's a very good indicator to work out if this action idea you want to pursue or your messaging is right or wrong. Okay, now back onto the 1,000 customers that you need to message. Don't worry, you don't need to email them individually. We're going to use a lot of automation tools to do most of this work. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and find 1,000 leads. You can easily get this through LinkedIn Sales Navigator, Apollo, or even SmartWriter that will help you find these leads in your ideal persona. HR managers, maybe marketers, sales professionals, whoever it is. Second thing you're going to go ahead and do is pretty much go ahead and personalize these messages, because in this day and age, no one wants to be mass emailed. They want to make sure that the email is personalized specific to them. You can use smartwriter.ai, link will be in the description below, to help you personalize these messages at scale. Click a button and it's done. Now you want to make sure that your emails are extremely short. You're talking about maybe a paragraph, maximum 2, and within those paragraphs, you want to make sure it's just 1 or 2 sentences. I know it's going to be a little hard, but this is the main important part. You want to work out exactly the messaging that works. Now, out of these 1,000, you can send out 200 with different types of messaging to see what works and what doesn't work. Now, to send out these messages, again, you don't need to do this manually. You can use something called Gmass, which lets you send emails for free. And we're talking Gmail itself has 1,000 emails that you can send per day. By the way, you're not sending 1,000 in one day. You're definitely phasing them out over a 2 to 3 week span, because you want to understand and iterate the messaging as it goes on. Now, the goal of this is to jump on calls with your potential customers or get them to buy itself. Guess what? Cold emailing 100% works. Even Nathan very recently just wrote a message on Twitter about how he grew ConvertKit from 5,000 MRR to 95,000 MRR, almost 100,000 MRR within a year, pretty much using a hustle and bustle process where he was doing outbound outreach, trying to get people to understand about his product, understand their pain points, and pretty much just grow it through outbound as well as word of mouth and just building a good product. So outbound is going to be one of your primary channels that we're going to be talking about in these next 5 steps. All right, so step number 1 complete. Now let's go into step number 2. Now step number 2 is Facebook. Nope. Hold on, I'm not telling you to run Facebook ads, I'm talking about Facebook groups. Yep, the thing that Mark Zuckerberg said he is going to go ahead and promote the crap out of in the following years, I think in 2019 when the announcement was made, and he was not lying. Tell me about a time where you've not seen a Facebook group that you're not a part of that it has showed up on your feed, because that's what Facebook is nowadays. It's become a community of groups, people sharing knowledge. And this is a fantastic place for you to show your expertise, basically circle around your product. Now, there's a famous SEO tool, search engine optimization tool, called Ahrefs. And essentially what they follow, along with Canva.com, if you know about them, is something called a jobs to be done framework. That means they write content about a job you're looking to be done. How to print a business card, how to grow and rank on number 1 on Google. And then they don't pitch their product, but they basically use the product as a centerpiece of how to achieve the success that you're trying to achieve. Now, you're not going to go ahead and go through a long form strategy of SEO right now. That's not what I'm going to ask you to do. You're not going to get that in 1 month. month anyway, or 3 weeks. Instead, you're going to go to these dedicated Facebook groups where your customers or your audience is sitting. Like I said, maybe it's salespeople, maybe it's marketers, whoever it is. Find these groups using a simple Facebook search. Go on the search section on Facebook, look for these groups, join them, and don't spam, right? The first 2 weeks, what you're going to do is comment and provide actual value. None of this, like I said, is going to be very quick hacks, but you're going to be putting in a teeny bit of work. But remember, as a result of this, you're going to get 50 paying customers. That's a validated, successful business that is going to grow, right? And it's going to scale fast and faster and faster. And you need to hustle a bit. So comment on this for the first 1 to 2 weeks, maybe about 5-10 posts a day. Don't overhaul any of this, right? Be methodic and be a little organic in the way you do it. And then after that, start creating your own posts, sharing value. You may or may not want to link your own particular product while you're doing this jobs to be done framework while you're sharing value, because maybe the admins won't approve. However, if you continuously comment, share your actual thoughts, not just cool point or very smart or I disagree with you, actually saying something that will make the customer feel, or the potential person feel like, wow, this person knows what they're saying, then eventually creating blog posts about this on Facebook. This is personally how I would actually acquire a lot of customers, at least users, to go ahead and try the product out, completely free, by the way, and in a high authority particular domain, because people would value you as an expert over there. So that is number 2, free for you to do, and you can easily get that going pretty much as of now. Cool. Now let's go on to point number 3. Point number 3 is one of our favorite social medias that we all know and love, Twitter. Yes. Now with Twitter, it can be difficult for you to go ahead and build a social media audience within the first 1 month. If you do, congrats. I want some tips from you as well. However, what we're talking about is cold DMing or direct messaging each person, maybe 50 people every single day. Again, I've got automation tools for you. None of this you need to do manually. All right, now why Twitter? Twitter actually has grown to become a really high purchase intent platform. There's a lot of people looking for solutions for problems they're facing. LinkedIn is great. LinkedIn works for a certain segment. However, some people find LinkedIn a little transactional. However, Twitter is a great way for you to go ahead and share your product with a particular customer who's facing a problem, most likely who's tweeted about it. So how do you go ahead and do this? Simple. There's 2 ways. One, you can go ahead and find a list of people who are following maybe your competitor's brand, or following a particular person who's an expert in that space. Maybe there's an email marketer who's an influencer, and obviously the people following that person is going to go ahead and have followers who are also email marketers looking to learn about email marketing. All right. So you can go and pretty much scrape those followers and then direct message them. Now, how do you do this? You can use a combination of tools, either Phantom Buster or Texaw. I hopefully spelled those 2 right. I'll put the links again in the description below. And what you're going to go ahead and do is scrape these followers relevant. Obviously, they're all relevant. They've obviously spoken about this, or they're intentionally following an individual who likes to speak about a particular topic. So you're going to go ahead and create a very simple direct message saying, hey, first name, I saw you follow XYZ, or I saw you follow this. I've built a cheaper alternative, a free alternative, a better alternative, maybe pulling out one of the problems that you solve better than your competitors. And then ask them, are you free to try it out? Are you looking to try it out? Again, look, it's a volume game that you're trying to play. And again, you're trying to test your messaging to see what pain point works better, because SEO and ads, all these things only work as fuel to pretty much push through a messaging and methodology that already is working. Ads do not necessarily become the bloodline of what you're trying to do. Sometimes it does work, yes, especially in e-commerce and DTC, but in a SaaS-based business model where you're trying to build a subscription-based customer, you want to ensure authority and value is built, and to get that, you want to make sure your messaging and methodology is correct, because you're trying to pull the right customer in. Again, all of this is pretty much a set and forget 50 customers or 50 people you can DM every single day. Again, be careful with the way you play with Twitter's outbound cycles, because if you just create a Twitter account, it might cause you some restrictions. So maybe keep that to 5 or 10 as you grow your Twitter account, and eventually scale that up to 50 per day if you would like. Cool. All right, now let's look at point number 4. The 4th strategy I want to share with you on how you can go ahead and acquire your 50 first paying customers in 3 to 4 weeks maximum is using, yes, our favorite world website, Reddit. Okay, now I know Reddit has a lot of noise and a lot of people who are just hearsay speakers and they don't actually convert. However, Reddit, if done right, can actually bring in very high value leads for you. In fact, I've actually acquired one of my longest paying customers through Reddit because of a post that I made. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and tell you to post on Reddit because Reddit has become quite notorious in blocking people who self-promote, and it can get quite rough in the comment section. But if you do it right, it definitely does work. So that's not what I'm talking about though. What I'm talking about is a software called Howitzer. No, not the weapon. There's a software called Howitzer that essentially goes ahead and tracks pretty much who and what someone is talking about. So let's say, again, we're using the example of marketers. You want to reach out to someone or people who are talking about email marketing, or have made a recent comment or blog post or topic, or generally follow the subtopic of email marketing. Now, it's obviously difficult for you to go ahead and search every single person and then message every single person saying, I saw you spoke about this, can we have a conversation? Instead, what Howitzer does is it goes ahead and automatically finds people who've spoken about a particular topic, in this case email marketing, and direct messages them on Twitter talking about what you want to send to them. So it can be a simple message. Again, remember, my rules for direct messaging someone should be extremely simple messages. So 1 or 2 paragraph at most, maybe 1 line, 1 sentence per paragraph, and get straight to the point. Just, hey, I saw you're speaking about this. Would you be interested in trying a free solution that I built, or an easy solution, or something that is specific, or an offer that is naturally specific to that message you sent? Maybe extra 5 credits, 10 credits, whatever you want to go ahead and do. And that, again, is a great strategy that you can implement in automation. Again, all of these things that I'm trying to give you right now is not getting you to do hours and hours of work, but you can easily automate this and find out what messaging works and what customers are more likely and willing to pay you. Fifth magical tactic that can easily work well for you is leverage. Now, that's a very vague statistic standard term that I've used. What I mean by leverage is basically audience influence and leverage. Yes, I'm talking about influencers. Now, Instagram influencers are tentatively more expensive just because they know their value. They've been in the market for a long time. YouTube probably the most expensive because we know how they work, as well as we've got TikTok influencers that are upcoming right now. Now, as a bootstrap business that's trying to grow, you have to put in a teeny bit of budget to go ahead and try work with these segments of customers. I would suggest to go ahead and try find YouTube influencers in this particular space that you're trying to get to. But again, micro and nano influencers. This is the gold standard. Reaching out to people who've got millions of followers can work, but when you're trying to grow your business, you're trying to find people who are trying to build an audience and who are trying to solve deep problems that your potential customer faces. Now, another easy way to go ahead and do this is pretty much find a niche that you're trying to target, scrape YouTube using any of the automation softwares that I've mentioned before, get the email addresses of these people, and pretty much direct message them. Again, influencers are very active on their email addresses. If you personalize it, even better for you, and you can easily go ahead and get a higher reply and response rate. Now, there's a few ways you can pitch your product to these influencers. One, you can ask them to pretty much do a pay-by-pay engagement. You can also do an affiliate link where pretty much you go ahead and tell them that if someone goes through the link that they provide, you'll give them a certain amount of money. And the third thing you can also purely do and obviously pay them a certain amount. And the third option is purely pay them on the basis of a free access to your product. Now, if someone is talking about a solution that you're obviously trying to solve, maybe you're reaching out to other email marketers about your software, which is about email marketing, most likely they're also interested in your product. So you can maybe give them 6 months free, 3 months free, discounts, lifetime free, whatever offer you think works best for you in terms of a pricing strategy. And that can work really well because there's a few things you'll get out of this. One, your product is easily made accessible to thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of users who trust this person, who's speaking on behalf of something, of a new product, and they're basically vouching for it. Second, if they review the product, it works even better than them promoting the product, right? So make sure when you're trying to engage with these influencers, you're not necessarily just going to go ahead and ask them to do pitch my product. Maybe just ask them to review the solution, get a raw, honest review. And if you trust your product good enough, then great. Then you're going to get a raw, honest review because guess what? 65% of millennials or people below the age of 30, before they actually make a purchase, look on social media and other places to see and find reviews of a product that they're trying to purchase. That's a very big statistic and big chunk of people that are actually doing reviews or looking for reviews before they make a purchase. So these reviews are important. So make sure you try to get that. And the last point to basically consider as to why this market is great for you is you can then reuse this material as snippets to then share in your own social media, run ads to these particular video snippets that you've created. And as we all know, the gold standard in marketing is user-generated content is one of the best ways for you to acquire customers. People automatically trust when they see another face on the video, especially when it's not the face of the person selling it, but another person recommending the product, maybe through a review or maybe through a testimonial. There you go. These are 5 easy, brainless ways that I think you can go ahead and acquire your first 50 customers. Actually, not think, I know you can. And just like I said at the beginning of the video, if you don't get your 50 customers within the first 3 weeks, maybe not the end of the world, but it's a very good signal for you to go ahead and identify why it's not working, why you're not acquiring customers, what messaging is not good, and probably not best for you to go ahead and throw money into paid ads yet until you work out the messaging and your ideal customer persona. There you go. Follow along. If you like this video, subscribe, share it, and maybe share it with someone else in your social media platforms who are also growing their brands, because guess what? We're all trying to grow our businesses and all trying to succeed. See you next time. Thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Cheers.